Conspiracy. Noun. A secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. The action of plotting or conspiring. Coincidence. Noun. A remarkable occurrence of events or circumstances without apparent causal connection. Correspondence in nature or in time of occurrence. Cover-up. Verb. Put something on top of or in front of something in order to protect or conceal it. Try to hide the fact of illegal or illicit activity. The truth is hidden behind the veil. Stay awake. Stay aware. Nothing is ever what it seems.
Indeed, nothing is ever as it seems. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on which of the 24/25 time zones you are listening to this show from. We will enter the matrix of the mind tonight here on WCAK 1124 AM as we head into the dark zone, where we tune into the unknown, the unexplained, and the utterly unnerving. Tonight marks the premiere of a new series, Conspiracy, Coincidence, or Cover-Up. We'll dissect phenomena that blur the lines between reality and nightmare, leaving you to decide what's lurking beneath the surface. Our first dive, Doppelgängers. Those eerie twins, those mirror image imposters that have haunted humanity for centuries. But tonight, we're not just talking folklore. We're exploring their potential link to extraterrestrial forces. Are these doubles mere flukes of nature? Or are they alien infiltrators, shape-shifting, slipping into our world to replace us one by one? We'll break it down tonight in 3 segments. First, the conspiracy angle, where aliens pull the strings. Second, the coincidence explanation, grounded in science. And third, the cover-up, where government and shadows conspire to keep truth buried. No guests tonight, people. No callers. It's just you and me and the chilling facts that might make you question the person in the mirror. Stay with me, folks. The signal's strong and the night is long. Let's begin right after this message from our sponsor.
Craving a refresh that's pure magic? Oasis Soda, where every sip sparks joy. Coincidence? That burst of bold flavor just hits you when you need it most? Conspiracy? Only that we've bottled paradise in every can. A cover-up? Nah, we're wide open about our crisp, exotic tastes that keep you coming back. Oasis. Conspiracy of deliciousness? Coincidence of perfection? Or the cover-up of just boring drinks everywhere? Grab yours now. Fizz up your day, and remember to make Oasis your basis for life.
Welcome back to the Dark Zone, WCAK 1124 AM. I am your host, Sal Rock, and we will sit here in the matrix of the mind, my friends. Let's dim the lights and lean in close. In this first segment, we're plunging into the conspiracy waters, deep, dark, and teeming with otherworldly possibilities. I mean, imagine this. Your doppelganger isn't a random lookalike or a psychological glitch. No, it's an alien construct, a perfect replica designed to infiltrate, observe, and perhaps even replace you. Sounds far-fetched? Well, just stick with me, people, because the threads of the theory weave throughout history. Eyewitness accounts, and the words of those who have dared to pull back the curtain. Let's start with the basics. Doppelgängers have been reported since ancient times. Egyptian Ka spirits, the Norse Vardogur that precede their origins, Irish Fetch as demon omens. But what if these aren't supernatural echoes? What if they're extraterrestrial experiments? David Icke, the controversial conspiracy theorist, yes, I know, but you've heard him on Art Bell, so you know who I'm talking about. He popularized the idea of reptilian shapeshifters, ancient aliens from Draco or beyond, disguising themselves as human control world leaders. These reptilians, he claims, can mimic any form, slipping into society like shadows in skin suits. I mean, think about it. World leaders who seem off, their eyes glazing over in interviews, and their behaviors are erratic. Is that fatigue or a glitch in the alien facade? Take the case of Justin Bieber. Do you guys remember that? Conspiracy circles buzzed when a video captured what looked like his eye, let's just call it glitching, a momentary reptilian slit pupil. Or how about Hillary Clinton's alleged skin shedding moments during campaigns? Baseless? Yeah, perhaps. But Icke's followers point to ancient texts. Sumerian tablets describing Anunnaki gods who engineered humanity, shape-shifting to rule from the shadows. I mean, if aliens created us, why not create devils to maintain control? Now, let's dive into modern encounters. In the 1950s, the golden era of UFO sightings, reports of men in black emerged. Pale, emotionless figures who silenced witnesses. But some accounts describe them as imperfect copies. Stiff movement, synthetic type skin, as if aliens were testing human mimicry. Now, let's fast forward to the 1980s in Bartsville, Oklahoma. Now, a child reported gray aliens at his windows, followed by doppelganger apparitions and light beams. Was this just trauma? Or was it aliens deploying scouts, probing minds to perfect their duplicates? Maybe. Consider abduction stories. Now, what about Betty and Barney Hill? Now, that was the first widely reported abductees in 1961, and I don't think that was ever properly discredited. Now, they described beings that looked almost human, at least close enough to pass in a crowd. Theories suggest that these are hybrids, alien-human crosses engineered to blend in. Now, Dr. David Jacobs, a hypnosis researcher, claims abductees report aliens inserting implants to monitor and control, creating, let's call them walk-ins, or doubles that take over bodies. One woman described waking to find her husband replaced. He was cold, forgetful, with knowledge that he shouldn't have had also. Alien infiltration? Or was it paranoia? Well, I'll let you decide on that one. But it's not just individuals. Conspiracy theorists link doppelgangers to global events. Now, what about the Denver International Airport? With its cryptic murals of masked figures and apocalyptic scenes, is said to house underground alien bases where human cloning occurred, right? That's the stories I've heard many times. The graffiti of space aliens, dismissed as employee pranks, but whispers persist of reptilian overlords directing traffic from below that. And pop culture. It's riddled with hints. Movies like Invasions of the Body Snatchers, hell, that was 1956, where pods replace humans. Or what about They Live in 1988, revealing alien infiltrators among us? I mean, even video games. In the game Half-Life, the G-Man causes doubles. In the Tomb Raider game, flesh doppelgangers stalk Laura. Is that art imitating life? Or is that soft disclosure? Well, I'll let you think about that one. But, imagine scrolling social media and seeing your face on a stranger's profile. Same eyes, same smile, but in a place that you've never been. Well, X users report this, tying it to alien psyops. One thread describes a pop star-faced android, leading to draconian conspiracies, blending doppelgangers with alien agendas. Another claims the British royal family uses alien tech to stay immortal. And what about Queen Elizabeth at 200? Well, I guess we'll find out. What if it's bidirectional? Researcher Colm Keller speaks of bidirectional mimicry, UAPs imitating drones, but perhaps aliens mimic us while we mimic them in black projects. Richard Dolan speculates human-looking ETs walk among us, genetically engineered for our benefit or theirs. Profound question. Who's the original? As this segment closes, feel that chill? That's the conspiracy sinking in. Aliens they're not invading. They're already here, wearing our faces. Up next, could it all just be a coincidence? Don't go anywhere. We will be back right after this message.
On conspiracy, coincidence, or cover-up. Tonight, we're cracking open the mystery. Oasis beer. Gone from shelves. Gone from taps. Coincidence. A cover-up hiding the recipe or the truth. Or a full-blown conspiracy by the powers that pour. The answer is on tap. Join us as we dig deep, talk to insiders, and uncover what's really behind your favorite beer. Decide for yourself. Conspiracy, coincidence, or cover-up, where every sip could hold a secret. Remember to make Oasis your basis for life.
Coincidence. Conspiracy. Cover up. Stay awake. Stay aware.
Nothing is ever as it seems.
Nothing is ever
As it seems.
Nothing is ever
As it seems.
Stay awake. Stay aware. Nothing is ever as it seems. Welcome back to the Dark Zone. I am Sal Rock, here on WCAK 1124 AM, sitting in the Dark Zone in the Matrix of the Mind, talking about doppelgangers. If segment 1 had you eyeing your reflection suspiciously, well, let's ground ourselves in the cold light of science. You've just survived the conspiracy of Abyss. Alien hybrids, reptilian overlords, faces in the mirror that don't belong to you. Now, let's step into the light, or what looks like the light anyway, because here in segment 2, we're going to ground ourselves in coincidence, the cold, clinical, unforgiving explanation that says doppelgangers aren't invaders from the stars or government clones. They're just simply math, biology, psychology, randomness. But you know what? Don't get too comfortable, because even when you strip away the UFOs, the men in black, the black helicopters, what's left, it can still make your skin crawl. Sometimes, the most terrifying truth isn't that something wants to replace you. It's just the simple facts that you are never really that unique to begin with. Let's start with the numbers. The cold, hard, inescapable numbers. There are 8.1 billion people on this planet as of 2025. That's 8,100,000,000 faces. Now, how many possible facial combinations could there possibly be? Well, a study in 2015 by Dr. Tegan Lucas at the University of Adelaide used 4,000 facial photographs and 37,000 facial landmarks to calculate this very thing. Their conclusion? There are about 10 to the 14th possible unique human faces based on measurable geometry. Nose width, eyes distance, jawline curvature, lip fullness, etc., etc., etc. So let's do the math. 8.1 billion people divided by 100 trillion possible faces equals you have a 1 in 12,345 chance of having at least one near identical match somewhere here on Earth. But that's just the beginning. Lucas's team loosened that criteria, allowing for 1 millimeter variance in key measurements, and the odds completely plummeted. Suddenly, your doppelganger isn't a 1 in a trillion fluke. He's actually 1 in 135 statistical inevitability. Still think you're special? Yeah, well, rethink that. Now let's dig deeper into the genetic lottery that makes this possible. In 2022, Dr. Manel Esteller at the Josep Carreras Leukemia Research Institute in Barcelona published a bombshell in Cell Reports. He studied 32 pairs of unrelated doppelgangers, people who looked identical but shared no family tree. Using AI facial recognition and DNA sequencing, he found something terrifyingly consistent. They shared 95% plus of the same facial structure genes. Their epinomes, how genes are expressed, were nearly identical. They had similar microbiomes, BMIs, smoking habits, educational levels, and even behavioral traits. One pair, Franciosos Brunel's I'm Not a Lookalike project, 2 men, one from Montreal, one from Texas, looked so identical that facial recognition software scored them 99.8% a match. 99.8%. They'd never met. Same crooked smile, same receding hairline, same way of tilting their head when thinking. Esteller's conclusion? Well, lookalikes are not just skin deep, they are biological echoes. But it gets weirder. These doppelgangers didn't just look alike, they lived alike. One pair played guitar left-handed. Another both had dogs named Max. A third both worked in IT and married a woman named Laura. Coincidence? Sure, yeah, it is. But it's certainly stacked coincidence, layer upon layer of mirrored lives. This is convergent epigenetics. Your environment shapes how your genes express. Yes, they do. Eat the same diet, breathe the same air, face the same stresses, and your face morphs towards the same template. It's not cloning, it's biological resonance. Now, let's talk brain glitches. Have you ever walked into a room and swore up and down, left and right, side to side, the person across from you was someone that you knew, only to yet realize they are a stranger? That's prosopagnosia's evil twin, hyperfamiliarity. Your brain's facial recognition system centers in the fusiform gyrus, fires too eagerly. It sees patterns where none exist. Then there's Capgras delusion, named after French psychiatrist Joseph Capgras. It's the belief that a loved one has been replaced by an imposter. Not metaphorically, literally. The emotional recognition center disconnects from the visual cortex. You see your wife, but you don't feel her. So your brain screams, that's not her, that's not her, that's a fake. Well, in 1991, a 74-year-old woman in London was admitted after attacking her husband with a rolling pin. Why? He's been replaced, she said. The real one had warmer hands. Neurologists found a lesion in her right temporal lobe. No aliens were involved. No clones were involved. Just a broken wire in the soul recognition circuit. How about historical cases? Let's revisit Emily Sagi, the 19th century Latvian school teacher whose doubled or doppelganger was seen by 42 students. While writing on the blackboard, her identical twin appeared in the garden, picking flowers in perfect sync. No sound, no interaction, just presence. Skeptics say mass hallucination under stress. The school was isolated, winter was harsh, and Saji was exhausted. Add flickering gas lamps, fogged windows, and teenage boredom, and you've got a recipe for shared delusion. One girl sees a shadow, another confirms it, and pretty soon, 42 minds agree there are two of her. Or take Abraham Lincoln's mirror vision. In 1860, he saw a pale double in the glass, interpreted as a death omen. But Lincoln was under immense stress. Election night, sleepless, staring into a dim mirror by candlelight. Pareidolia, the brain's tendency to see faces in chaos, kicked in. The pale face? Likely his own reflection distorted by fatigue and poor lighting. Even Queen Elizabeth I's pre-death sighting. Court gossip in a plague-ridden palace? A lady in waiting sees a figure in the queen's dress lying still. Panic spreads. By morning, the real queen is dead. Confirmation bias seals the myth. Now let's talk technology, because the 21st century has weaponized coincidence. In 2018, a Chinese man was denied entry to a concert because facial recognition flagged him as a wanted criminal. The real criminal? You got it, his doppelganger. Same cheekbones, same nose, same jawline. The system scored a 98.7% match. 98.7. He spent 3 hours in custody before being released. In 2023, a Canadian woman was locked out of her bank account after AI mistook her for her twin sister, who lived, you'll get this, lived in Australia and never used that bank. The system didn't care about geography. It saw one face, but it was two lives. And then there's deep fake doppelgangers. In 2024, a deep fake of Taylor Swift went viral, singing a song that she never recorded in a voice indistinguishable from her own. Her fans swore it was real. Her team had to issue a statement, but what if the next one isn't a singer? What if it's you? What if it's you saying things you never said or doing things that you never did? Here's the chilling truth of coincidence. It doesn't need a motive. It doesn't need permission. It just happens. Your double exists not because someone wants to replace you, but because the universe is a copy machine with 8 billion templates and a glitchy printer. You walk into a coffee shop in Prague. A stranger looks up, same eyes, same scar above the left eyebrow, same nervous tick when they laugh. You freeze. They freeze. For one heartbeat, the world holds its breath. Then they smile and say, "You're not from around here, are you?" And you realize they've been waiting for you. Not because of aliens, not because of the government, but because math finally caught up with you. As we leave the coincidence chamber, ask yourself, If science can explain every shadow, every double, every glitch, why does it still feel like something's watching? Up next, cover up. Because what if the truth isn't hidden in the stars or in the math, but in the files they'll never let you see? We'll be right back after this message here in the Dark Zone.
Some say it's just a coincidence that the front desk clerk looks exactly like you. Your old friend, your doppelganger, or maybe it's even you. Others whisper it's a cover-up, that the Oasis Motel has a way of reflecting its guests, mirroring them, studying them. Then there are those who believe it's a conspiracy, a place where identity just isn't personal, it's collectible. But don't worry, here at Oasis Motel, we don't ask questions, we just hand you the key, point to the ice machine, and let you settle in. Oasis Motel, where you're never sure if you've been here before. And remember to make Oasis your basis for life.
Doppelganger. Noun. An apparition or double of a living person. A doppelganger is a non-blood related person who looks strikingly similar to someone else. But the term originally referred to a ghostly or supernatural double of a living person. The word is German and literally translates to double walker or double goer. While the original meaning involved the ghost, today it is most commonly used to describe a look-alike.
Welcome back to WCAK 1124 AM. I am your host, Sal Brock, and we have been sitting within the matrix of the mind tonight discussing doppelgangers. You've survived the conspiracy. You've endured the coincidence. Now, we enter the final circle, the one that keeps me up at night. Because here, in segment 3, we're not asking if doppelgangers exist. We're not asking who's hiding them, who's making them, and who's making sure that we never find out. This is the cover-up segment, and it's not about little green men or statistical flukes. It's about human hands, greedy, terrified, power-hungry hands, pulling levers in bunkers, boardrooms, and black sites. Governments, corporations, shadow cabals, they've known about doppelgangers for decades, and they've weaponized the concept to control you, silence you, and even replace you. Let's begin where all good cover-ups do, with the body doubles of history. Adolf Hitler had at least 4 known stand-ins. Gustav Weller, a failed actor, was trained to mimic the Führer's gait, voice, and mannerisms. He gave speeches, waved from balconies, and even fooled Allied intelligence. One double was killed in a 1944 bomb plot meant for Hitler. Where's the real one? Safe in a bunker. And what about Saddam Hussein? Over a dozen doubles? One, Mikhail Ramadan, was captured in 2003 and interrogated. He knew Saddam's speeches by heart, his favorite foods, even his nightmares. U.S. forces used voice analysis to confirm a 99.2% match on his voice. But was Ramadan just a decoy? Or a prototype? Now let's fast forward to Vladimir Putin. Since 2022, analysts have tracked at least 3 distinct Putins. Putin A, the pre-war leader, deep-set eyes, pronounced nasolabial folds, and a slight limp. Putin B, post-2022, much smoother skin, higher cheekbones, and no limp. Putin C, dating up to 24 to 25, wider jaw, different ear shape, walks like a much younger man. Now, the Kremlin denies all this, but X threads explode with side-by-side GIFs. One user overlays ear scans, 0% match between the 2019 Putin and the 2025 Putin. Russian state media calls it deep fake propaganda. But why does Putin C never age? Why does he never cough or never blink at a sink? Because doppelganger ops are real. In 2024, the U.S. Justice Department seized 41 domains tied to Operation Doppelganger, a Russian psyops using AI bots to mimic real journalists, flooding X with pro-Kremlin narratives. One bot, at Anna, Texas, posted 1,200 times in a month with perfect English, Texas slang, and even a dog named Buddy. But Anna, Texas never existed. Now, let's go deeper into black budget cloning. In 1997, Dr. Stephen Greer briefed Congress on Project Aquarius. Yes, the same Dr. Stephen Greer you have heard multiple times on Art Bell shows. Alleged MJ-12 documents claiming the U.S. recovered alien DNA in 1947 and began human-alien hybrid programs. While whistleblowers like Bob Lazar claimed Area 51 housed living hybrids, beings that looked human but were not. One J-Rod, alleged telepathic, was used to reverse engineer anti-gravity tech. But what if the hybrids weren't for tech? What if they were for replacement? In 1979, Paul Benowitz, an Albuquerque physicist, intercepts signals from Kirtland Air Force Base. He claimed to see human duplicates being trained in underground facilities, perfect copies of military personnel activated during abductions. The Air Force silenced him with psyops, spreading rumors of his mental breakdown. Benowitz died in 2003. Well, you would wonder then, what about his files? Well, yeah, they have become classified until the year 2050. So now let's talk about celebrity cloning and the theory that just won't die. In 2016, a video of Avril Lavigne went viral. Fans claimed she had been replaced post-2003. Well, the evidence? Her handwriting changed, her music softened, a birthmark vanished. The so-called new Avril, a body double named Melissa Vandella, allegedly hired after real Avril's suicide. Now, that all sounds insane until you see the side-by-side photos. Ear shape mismatches, jawlines are shifted, voice timbres are dropped. Then there's the Paul McCartney, the Paul is dead rumor from 1966, claims he died in a car crash and was replaced by a look-alike named William Campbell. Clues? Backmasked Beatles song saying Paul is dead? Album covers with Barefoot Paul? The replacement? Too perfect. Now the same voice? Same genius? Exactly. But much colder eyes. Disney stars? Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, all accused of being MK Ultra'd and replaced post-breakdown. Their old selves vanish. The new ones, very polished, compliant, and empty. Now, the Deep State Doppelganger program. In 2021, a leaked DARPA document, which was quickly scrubbed, referenced Project Mirror, a $2.3 billion initiative to create autonomous human replicas using CRISPR, 3D printed organs, and neural uploads. What was the goal? Replaced high-end risk assets, spies, politicians, CEOs, without any downtime. One slide, subject M7 operational for 18 months with no behavioral drift. In 2023, a whistleblower from Los Alamos claimed to have seen three identical Kamala Harrises in a single secured wing. One was briefing staff, one was in a cryopod, and one was just watching. The real VP? allegedly in protective custody since 2021. And then there's the Denver International Airport, the mother of all cover-up symbols. Those murals, you gotta wonder about those murals. Children in gas masks, soldiers with rifles, a giant alien figure looming over a burning city, the dedication stone, quote unquote, New World Airport Commission. The underground tunnels, 5 levels deep, 47,000 square feet, allegedly housing cloning vats and hybrid gestation chambers. Graffiti from 2024, they grow them here. Strange one. DIA officials call it all just art. But why the $4.8 billion cost overrun then? Why the barbed wire facing inward? Let's talk about soft disclosure, how they condition us. What about movies? The Prestige in 2006, Tesla builds a cloning machine. How about Us in 2019, tethered clones rising from the underground? Or what about Moon in 2009, Sam Bell meets his own clone, grown in a lab? Or what about TV shows, Orphan Black? And just on a side note, I could throw this out. If you haven't seen Orphan Black, that is fantastic. But what about Orphan Black, where a corporation clones a woman for experiments? Or Westworld, hosts are perfect human replicas? All fiction, but what if it's predictive programming? What if they're showing us the tech, so when it happens, we don't question it? In 2025, Figure AI unveiled Figure 02, a humanoid robot with human-like skin, voice, and gait. It passed the Turing test of casual conversation. And then Elon Musk tweeted, "The age of the double is here." Now, is that a coincidence? Or is that a slow rollout? Here's the final chill. They don't need to replace everyone, just the right ones. A senator who votes the wrong way, a journalist who maybe digs a little too deep, a whistleblower who talks just a little too loud. One swap, one little accident, one new face in an old chair. And you'll never know, because the perfect cover-up isn't hiding the truth. It's making you doubt your own eyes. As we fade from the cover-up, ask yourself, if they can replace a president, a pop star, a physicist, a rock star, what's stopping them from replacing you? And so, the question lingers. We've walked through conspiracy, where aliens wearing our skin. We've endured coincidence, with the math proving our replaceability. We've uncovered the cover-up, hands in the dark, building doubles in the light. Now the mirror waits. Stare into it. Look at your eyes. Look at your smile. Look at your scars. Is that you? Are you the first draft? And because the Dark Zone is a paranormal channel, we are going to take one final angle at this that is not in the title. The paranormal angle. Right after these messages, we will see what's in the dark.
The night settles in. You're alone in your private library. Leather chair, old books, quiet thoughts. You pour a slow draw of Oasis whiskey. The amber color, the warmth, the familiar. Then across the desk, someone sits down. Someone who looks exactly like you. Same eyes, same smirk, same hand reaching for the same glass, and you ask, "Ever had Oasis before?" Your doppelganger laughs. "It's the only one worth drinking." Is that a coincidence? A comforting illusion in the low light? Or is Oasis whiskey so smooth and so deep, it brings out the part of you you've never spoken to? Look, There's no need to explain. Just pour yourself another and toast to yourself. Oasis Whiskey. You've always known who you are. And remember to make Oasis your basis for life.
Welcome back to WCAK 1124 AM. We are here in the dark zone. We are talking about doppelgangers. I am your host, Sal Rock. And because the dark zone is a paranormal channel, we have to close out this show with a paranormal angle on the doppelganger. Originally, the doppelganger was a supernatural, a ghost created by witches. And we will cover that angle right here to close this show out. Don't move. Don't blink. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't conspiracy. It isn't coincidence. It isn't cover-up. It's older. This is witchcraft. This is the paranormal truth they buried under the science and the secrets. Your doppelganger isn't an alien. It isn't a clone. It isn't a glitch in the matrix. It's the part of you that never forgave. It's the part of you that hungers. It's the part of you that the witch owns. Now let me take you back, way back. Before Roswell, before MK Ultra, before the first photograph ever captured a face in the Carpathian Mountains, 1723, a village called WCAK, the elder spoke of the Umbrata, your shadow self, not a reflection, not a twin, but the evil you excreted when you first lied, when you first hated, when you first wished someone dead. They said every sin you commit doesn't vanish. It coalesces. It takes form. It waits in the woods, wearing your face, but with eyes like spoiled milk. And the witches? Well, they feed it. I'm going to read you this story from the Chicago Tribune Sunday Magazine section, April 12, 1942, titled A Ledger of Blood, the Umbrata of WCAK, 1723, by Lawrence J. Harrington, war correspondent. Found sewn inside the field jacket of Private First Class Edward J. Malone, 34th Infantry, killed in action near Ploiești, April 3, 1942. London. 3 nights ago, in a makeshift morgue behind the American Evacuation Hospital at Ploiești, I opened the shirt of a dead private from Iowa to inventory his effects. Among the dog tags, a half-eaten Hershey bar, and an unsent letter to a girl named Betty, I found a small, oilskin-wrapped packet. Inside was a scorched parish ledger, Romanian Orthodox, dated 1724, and 8 pages of Malone's own handwriting, a meticulous, almost scholarly translation of a horror story 2 centuries old. The private had titled it, in block letters, Your Shadow Self. I publish it here because some truths are stranger than shellfire, and because Private Malone died with this manuscript pressed to his heart. Summer 1723. The setting was as formidable as the story is unnerving. Beneath the stark granite peaks of Shialu, Drogmeier Petrescu's managed the considerable estate of a local boyar. By any measure, Petrescu was a man of substance. His barns overflowed with valuable Transylvanian wool, and his strong room glittered with Ottoman gold ducats. He was the patriarch of a seemingly stable family unit. His wife, Elena, and their 4 children, Nikolai, Mihai, Radu, and Elena. Yet whispers from the village elders spoke of a local horror, the Umbrata, a name translating chillingly to your shadow. This was no mere superstition, but a local belief in a doppelganger that reportedly detached itself from the living man on the eve of St. Elijah's Day, assuming his perfect visage to systematically liquidate the entire bloodline and inherit his complete estate. The horrifying consequence of events began shortly after Petruscu's return from the Lazi trade fair, his wagon heavy with newly acquired silver. By the wayside crucifix, he experienced a shock. A precise duplicate of himself stood there, down to the worn sheepskin vest and the telltale saber scar across his face. Petruscu's cry of alarm was met by the apparition's sudden dissolution into the dirt. The following dawn, the family recognized the shift. The eldest son, Nikolai, reported, "Father had milked the goats hours before he woke up." An unusual chore, but the real Drogmeyer was still in bed. The pails, inexplicably, were rimmed with the frost of summer. Thereafter, the entity seamlessly joined the household. It dined with the family, spoke in Drogmeyer's unmistakable baritone, yet its presence was subtly terrifying. The children were chilled by its touch, fingers like icicles. Elena, seeing through the uncanny impostor, finally confronted it in the barn with a pitchfork leveled. "You are not he," she declared. The entity's reply was stark and ominous. "Soon, when the original is dead and into the dirt, I will be him." With that, the doppelganger demonstrated its unnatural nature, passing without effort through the solid wooden planking of the barn. The murders that followed were not random acts of passion, but chillingly methodical. Nikolai was found in the hill, his throat severed, a family minted ducat wedged between his teeth. Mihai was discovered buried alive in the root cellar, smothered by the very soil he was raised on. Radu was hurled from a nearby precipice, his pockets sewn, sutured with gold wire. Elena was butchered in the kitchen, her blood boiling into the evening soup. The final victim, Elena, was found suspended from the barn rafters by her father's own belt, and pinned to her dress, in a simulation of Drogmeyer's handwriting, was the chilling message, "The estate is now mine, brother." The real Drogmeyer, returning from Sukivia and clutching vials of holy water, was too late. His double waited for him in the main hall, wearing the family ring and replicating his posture exactly. With a single, brutal stroke of Petruscu's own knife, the Umbrata ended the life of the man it had taken over. He leaned in as he was bleeding out and whispered into his ear, "You accumulated this wealth. Now I will take it." The only known witness, Maria, a shepherd's widow, observed the climax from behind her clay oven. She recounted that at cockcrow, the Umbrata dragged a burlap sack of coin across the threshold. The distinct, spent cartridge rings of each ducat echoed in silence. The house itself was eventually claimed by an avalanche, and the site remains locally shunned. Early notes from Father Lone, transcribed in marginal Latin, adverat cave avaretium, a stark warning. True, beware greed. While the original village of Vudatok is now little more than a scarred crater field, mountain guides insist that on moonless nights, 2 sets of footprints ascend from the old man's path, one frantic, one calm, but both in 18th century boots. The final chilling addendum comes from the soldier, Private Malone, in a note scribbled into his official documents, which reads, "If your reflection never smiles first, run." Case 2. the Blackthorn Crone, Scotland, 1887. A midwife named Morag Blackthorn was burned for stealing souls. Her crime? She didn't kill the babies. She split them. Using a mirror smeared with lamb's blood and her own menstrual fluid, she would hold the newborns to the glass. The child's cry would fracture. One voice stayed in the cradle. The other? It crawled into the mirror and grew. Years later, the village children began seeing their doubles in the fog. One boy, Hamish, age 9, woke to find his doppelganger sitting on his chest, whispering his mother's secrets. Secrets Hamish had never been told. The double smiled with Hamish's mouth, but the teeth were blackened and filed to points. 3 days later, Hamish was found hanged in the barn. His mother swore she had locked him in the room, but the rope? It was tied with Morag's knot, the same one used on the gallows. The witch didn't need to be alive. She bound the doppelgangers to her bloodline. They obeyed her descendants, and they still do. Case 3, The Mirror Bride, New Orleans, 1932. A debutante named Eloise DuPont vanished on her wedding night. Her groom, Henry, found her wedding dress laid out on the bed. The veil was soaked in blood, but no body. The next morning, Eloise returned. Same dress, same smile, same voice, but her eyes, they were milky white, like that of a corpse left in the bayou. She spoke to Henry in a whisper. "I've always been the bride. You just met the wrong one." That night, Henry dreamed of a swamp witch, Mary Laval's great-granddaughter. Dipping a silver hand mirror into the Mississippi at midnight, she chanted in Creole, "Prends couli, prends l'esprit li, bay moen da bla la." Take her body, take her soul, give me the double. Henry woke to find Eloise standing over him, but her shadow on the wall, it had no head. He fled and she followed for 47 years. Every city he ran to, she was already there, waiting in doorways, reflections, photographs, always smiling, always one step ahead. Well, in 1979, Henry was found dead in a Baton Rouge motel. The cause? All his blood was drained. But there was no blood in the room, just a Polaroid on the nightstand, Eloise and Henry, arm in arm. But Henry's eyes were scratched out, and Eloise? She was holding the camera. Case 4, The Twin on D-Deck, Titanic, 1912. This account was not found in a diary or a police file. This was found on a piece of stationery from the White Star Line, waterlogged and barely legible, wedged in between the remnants of a leather portfolio recovered days after the sinking. The script is frantic, rushed, written in the hand of a man knew he was out of time. It is transcribed here. The unclaimed cabin. From the desk of Mr. John R. Vance, second-class passenger, cabin D, 59, embarked, Southampton, April 15, 1912, 1:40 a.m. It is not the ice. It is not the water. It's the face, the other face. I am John R. Vance. I am writing this by the spill light of a lamp tilted on the grand staircase. The water is already licking at the lower landings. The wireless is useless. I booked passage to New York to secure the patent on my new accounting mechanism. I was alone. I swear before God, I was alone. Yesterday, the 14th, a steward stopped me on B deck. He was pale. "Mr. Vance," he whispered, "I am sorry for the confusion. We settled the matter of the second man this morning, sir. You need not pay for his cabin. He has been removed." Second man? The steward showed me the manifest ledger. 2 names. John R. Vance, cabin D, 59, and immediately below, R.J. Vance, cabin D61. They were identical cabins, separated by one partition. The handwriting for the second name, I swear, was my own. I had a twin, a shadow, a doppelganger on board the ship. The encounter. At 1:30 a.m., the final order was given to abandon ship. The slant was already severe when I heard it. A muffled, desperate choking sound came from D61, the other cabin. The door was ajar. I pushed it open. Inside, suspended in half darkness, was a man. He was wearing my exact suit, the dark blue worsted wool, the silver tie pin. But he wasn't alone. The man, the real man, was Mr. Silas Finch, a third-class coal broker I had seen on the promenade deck. His eyes were wide, fixed on the ceiling, already dulling. He was dead. Cold blood was spreading a black stain on the carpet, soaking into the thick wool. And standing over him, holding a heavy glass inkwell, the murder weapon, was me, or the doppelganger. He looked up at me. His face was identical, but without the strain, without the fear, just pure, terrible satisfaction. His eyes weren't anxious. They weren't vacant, focused inward. He smiled. It was a smile, but stretched too wide for the lighting. He spoke in my voice, perfectly, and said, the third-class fool knew about the ledger. I had to silence the original before the ship silenced us all. I am the one who gets to live now, John. The confession. He was the evil I excreted when I first hated my lot. He was the part of me that hungered for success without mercy. He took the last small chance I had for survival. Well, I fled. I left the inkwell in his hand. Let them find the body and the other John Vance standing over it. But when I reached the A deck, rushing towards the lifeboats, I looked down the length of the deck. Every person I passed, the wireless operator, the officer, the wealthy industrialist, all of them were ignoring the double. They only saw me, the real one, the frantic one. Then I realized the doppelganger wasn't staying behind. He was already on the lifeboat. He was the man with my face, sitting calmly, quietly, already rowing away. I am writing this now, knowing the water is cold. I have no time. The shadow just needed the moment of greatest desperation to take my life and my name. The other John Vance will take my patent. He will take my life. He will take my place, and the world will never know. Final note scribbled in the margin, they will only count one body named Vance. So now you've heard the testimony. You've heard the records they didn't burn, the diary pages they didn't shred, the deathbed mutterings that they couldn't bury fast enough. And I know what you're thinking. Well, that was then. That was the old world. Folk tales, rumors, superstitious. You're thinking you're safe now. In the glow of your car dashboard, in the warmth of your bedroom lamp, with your phone screen lighting up your face like a little artificial sunrise. But I want you to listen to me very carefully. You are never alone. Not really. Not even in your most private thought, because the Umbrata is never focal. The witches were never just witches. The mirror was never just glass. The doppelganger is not a visitor. It is you. Split, cultivated, sharpened, starved, and now it is hungry. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked past a store window and for just a fraction of a second, you saw your reflection move late? Not wrong, not different, just delayed, slightly. Just enough to make your heart lurch, right before you told yourself you imagined it. Have you ever passed a mirror in the dark and felt something else was in the glass with you? Watching, waiting. Have you ever looked at a photograph of yourself and thought, that doesn't quite look like me? Not old, not tired, not off, just wrong? Like it was wearing your face instead of living in it? That's not imagination. That's evidence. The Kosciuszko family of Wrocław learned it. Morag Blackthorn's village learned it. Henry DuPont learned it. John R. Vance learned it, and his lungs filled with salt water. They all learned the same rule. Your double takes your life when your guard breaks. When you are worn down, when you are grieving, when you are angry, when you are envious, when you are tired, when you are alone, because that's the moment when you are weakest, but it is strongest. And I know, right now, some of you are listening in the dark. Some of you are driving alone on a highway no one else is on. Some of you are in a bed with only the faint hum of your phone charger filling the silence. Some of you are sitting in a parked car, engine off, radio the only sound in the world. Look to your left. Go on, slowly. Look to your right. Does the darkness feel a little more crowded than it did before? Good. You should feel that. That's contact. That's presence, recognition. Your double knows you're thinking about it, and that wakes it up. Let me tell you the truth. No priest, no therapist, no scientist, no government agency has ever wanted printed. Your doppelganger is not the opposite of you. It is the purified version of you. The you that never hesitated, never apologized, never regretted, never feared, never flinched. The you who would do what you won't. Every crucial thought that you didn't act on, it acted. Every jealous impulse you swallowed, it devoured. Every violent daydream you blinked away, it remembers them all. You didn't bury those emotions, you exported them. You created a creature made entirely of the thoughts you pretended that you never even had. And someday, it's going to come collect. Now, people ask, how do you know the double is close? Well, you start seeing yourself in places you know you never were. Someone says they saw you earlier today, but you weren't at home. A coworker swears you walked past them and didn't respond. The pet starts watching the doorway when no one is there. Your reflection smiles before you do. Your shadow moves when you don't. Someone opens your bedroom door at night, but you didn't hear any feet, just breathing. You're breathing. But not from your lungs, from the doorway, from the corner of the room, from the mirror, from behind you. Now, if you're still with us, you're still tuned in, you're still awake, there's one more thing you need to hear before I leave you tonight. And I'm not going to say it slowly, not for effect, but so it sinks all the way down, deep, into the place your double lives. You ready? Here it is. If your reflection ever smiles first, run. Do not speak, do not ask, do not scream, do not reason, do not pray, just run. Because the moment it smiles, the moment it acknowledges you, the moment it knows you noticed, it is already stepping out of the mirror. And by then, it's too late. You have been sitting in the matrix of the mind listening to WCAK 1124 AM here in the dark zone. Tonight, we covered many angles on the doppelganger. What is it? Who is it? A look-alike, as modern times see it, or something older, way older, that was conjured by a witch? You decide. Until the next episode of Conspiracy, Coincidence, or Cover-Up. Good night, America.
Under the streetlight flicker and fade, name Whispers in the shadows that never get made. Whispers of truth buried under the dust. Locked in a file they tell us to trust. Is it conspiracy or just a strange coincidence? Why does the story never make any sense? Something's hidden just out of sight, a cover-up slipping into the night. And we still ask, who's pulling the strings? Stay awake, stay aware. Nothing is ever as it seems. Stay